Hello there.
This is where the fun begins.
Hey there guys, Unofficial Star Wars here, hope you're all doing well, and in this video we're going to be talking about Andor as it's been teased with the Season 1's extreme death toll has been teased by the director Tony Gilroy of the show. This is something that we have been kind of knowing about the Andor show and have now even seen it with the first 3 episodes now streaming on DisneyPlus. At the time of recording and publishing this video, we also have our 3 episode breakdowns here on the channel as well, with all the different references, Easter eggs, and things that you may have missed throughout those episodes here on the channel now for you guys to check out as well. So in this video, we're going to be taking a read from the director's article. I'm going to have their full article linked down in the description down below for you guys to check out as well. As it reads, after years of waiting, Andor has finally arrived on DisneyPlus, something that's been planned for the last couple of years. The Diego Luna-led series serves as a prequel to Rogue One, for obvious reasons, telling the story of its lead character, Cassian Andor, before he becomes a rebel spy and the hero that stole the Death Star plans, with help of Jyn Erso. I believe that she's really the one that stole the Death Star plans. Anyways, the article goes on to say, the anticipation surrounding Andor has been sky high, especially after the overwhelmingly positive reactions that it's earned from fans and critics as well. This comes after the fact that it became apparent that this is a minimal amount of Star Wars Easter eggs, making it stand out from other shows, and banked on such references such as Obi-Wan Kenobi and The Mandalorian. Now in celebration of Andor's 3-episode debut on DisneyPlus, the series' showrunner has offered some grim insight into what lies ahead for the characters in Season 1 and beyond, with the Season 2 that would be potentially beginning pre-production and filming this fall and releasing sometime in 2024. Andor creator and director Tony Gilroy recently sat down with The Hollywood Reporter to talk about Season 1 while confirming its high body count and its kill count, given that there are characters on Andor who aren't in Rogue One or ever referenced again in Star Wars, such as Andrea Arjona's Bix and Stellan Skarsgård's Luthen. Gilroy was asked about the character's fates, while confirming that there are around 200 speaking parts in the show's first 12 episodes. The Andor showrunner first explained that he made 30 phone calls to the actors that he knew were going to go forward in the Season 2 of the show. In that full quote, he says, "We literally have around 200 speaking parts in the first 12 episodes. That's the entirety of Season 1. When I figured out Season 2, I had to make about 30 phone calls to the actors that I knew were going forward. I had to call them up and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking. This is when you live, this is when you die, this is how many episodes you're in," ending the quote right there. Tony Gilroy also confirmed that Season 1's body count is high all the way through, indicating that Andor happens during a very intense period of the time. In that full quote, Tony Gilroy says, "I mean, the body count is high all the way, though, but people live. It's a revolution. It's a very intense period of time. People are doing very dangerous things. Some people live and some people don't. How do we know who lives or dies at the end from the previous Star Wars? You shouldn't know. I mean, there's people buried in Yavin. Who knows who's there?" Ending the quote right there. As the article continues to say, when pressed if fans will change the way they look at Rogue One after watching the 2 seasons of Andor, Tony Gilroy simply said, yes, definitely. This is something that we have previously known about the Andor show, is that it's heavily going to change our perspective and the way that we go forward when we maybe rewatch the Rogue One movie or think back to the Rogue One movie and its characters. It's definitely adding on to the quote-unquote Rogue One verse, as some people have called it, and the overall world building during this time period and the evidently of just Star Wars universe in general. As the article goes on to also say, Tony Gilroy also confirmed that he will not return to direct in Andor Season 2, though he will serve as a showrunner and a writer as well. The veteran filmmaker noted that this job is just too huge, saying that he doesn't have the time to spare. Gilroy also revealed that Yellow Jackets director Ariel Kleinman will be the director of the first block of episodes of Season 2. In that full quote, Tony Gilroy says, I can't. This job is just too huge. I don't have the time to spare. It's a really poor use of my time. Ariel Kleinman is out in Pinewood. I was out there this morning. We start shooting in November. He started prepping 3 weeks ago. He's got his hands full out there just to get to November. I have all of the rest of the things I have to do. There was some fantasy that I would end up doing the last blog, but I just can't, to be honest with you. Ending the quote right there. Lastly, as our article continues to say, Tony Gilroy offered high praise to the directors who are on board with Season 2, describing them as really ambitious. In that full quote, he says, "So the directors who've come on has really been great, and they're really ambitious. they're really greedy. You need an extra retro rocket to go off when it's time to direct. When someone else comes in and says, man, I want to make this great, I want to make it better. It's really exciting. So I can say that I'm not directing, I'll be there in Pinewood, but I'm not directing. Ending the quote right there. So kind of for one thing there, as we were talking about earlier on in the video, with Tony Gilroy, kind of like teasing the high kill count of all the different characters that we're going to see throughout just season 1, and then the ones that would be going on to season 2. It sounds like we're going to have over 100 like main kind of character deaths, and like at that have like relevant characters in the storyline that would be important, such as maybe Tim in those first 3 episodes there as well. As he says that he had called around 30 out of 200 of those actors, saying and kind of giving them the whole plot and point of when everything happens, how stuff happens, and if they're going to be moving on to season 2 and everything like that. As the article goes on to say, why Andor needs a high kill count. Throughout its first 3 episodes, it was made clear that Andor is set during the Dark Times, showcasing a grim look at the galaxy that is held hostage by the Empire. Despite that, the threat of the Empire hasn't directly affected Andor, well, quite yet, due to the fact that Cassian's act of killing 2 security officers happened in Star Wars' corporate zone, a sector in the galaxy that is governed by an independent corp sector authority. The show's opening scene of Cassian instantly killing 2 officers is a subtle tease of what lies ahead in the series, as it kickstarted tons of deaths at the end of episode 3, kind of giving us an insight of the tones and themes and concepts that we can expect going forward with this overall show. And now it seems that the kill count has just started ticking upward. Tony Gilroy's comment about Andor having a high death toll isn't an exaggeration, but the deaths are required in order to cement the story that the Star Wars series needs to tell for the evidential larger scale story of the Star Wars universe and what happens within the Skywalker saga and the actual movies as well. As the article goes on to say, from it being set during the Dark Times to building a rebel alliance, sacrifices definitely are needed to be made. During episode 3, Tim Carlo, the lover of Bix, fell to his death. The character's demise meant that no one is safe, well, apart from Cassian Andor because of his plot armor with the Rogue One movie. Same thing can be applied for Saw Gerrera, as we had seen him in some of the trailers and TV spots for the show, in the leading series to the events of the Rogue One movie for both of those characters. This will put other characters who serve as allies to Cassian Andor in sticky situations, namely Luthen, Bix, and Marva. Considering that they all weren't featured in Rogue One whatsoever, there's a high chance that some of them, or even all of them, will be killed by the time season 2 is finished running on DisneyPlus with the Andor show. From there, that is where the article ends, and as I had mentioned at the beginning of this video, I have this full article linked down in the description down below for you guys to check out as well. So the stakes are high, essentially. Characters are going to be introduced and characters are going to, well, not make it out necessarily, but this doesn't imply that every single character that is going to be introduced, such as Luthen or Bix or Marva, are all going to be killed off. Rather, maybe they just go off into the sunsets and live a normal, happy life, maybe while Cassian continues his adventure with the entirety of the rebellion. Maybe at the end of episode 3 is the last time we're going to see Bix and Marva. And even then, from there, maybe Luthen lives safely and goes off doing whatever he does, living a normal, under kind of cover, low-key type of life and low-profile type of thing. Anyway, I want to know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below, and if you'd love to hear what you guys all think here about Andor so far, some of your thoughts and opinions and predictions and theories for the future continuing of episodes and the overall show here as well. I'd absolutely love to hear what you guys all think in the comment section down below. What kind of death predictions do you all have in the comment section down below? I'd absolutely love to hear all of your thoughts and opinions. Leave a like on the video if you did enjoy it, as it really helps the channel, and check out Instagram on official Star Wars for more Star Wars related content, guys. And thanks so much for watching today's video. As always, been Force with you. I'll catch you guys in the next one. This has been Unofficial Star Wars. Peace out.